when you do a hard thing or you try something that you don't know you're going to succeed, you activate stuff inside of you that then like widens the aperture of your whole life. And that doesn't mean that you should just like go out and be like, I'm going to do like 1,000 push-ups today, right? Like sometimes doing the hard thing is you're going to write a letter to your aunt, right? And like you're just something it doesn't have to be physically hard, but just that it's something that you have to get over a hurdle to do it.
Nick Thompson, welcome to the American Glutton Podcast.
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be here.
Okay, dude, like I look at your abilities, your accomplishments, and I think, well, he's just like a freak that is naturally inclined to things that would otherwise cause me physical pain. You know what I mean? Like, is running, structurally, I'm not built for running. I have great cardio abilities. I can do a marathon on an erg. I can ride a bike 100 miles. I don't have good feet or legs or hips. I'm not saying that trying to convince you. I'm just saying running is it's painful, dude. How do you do it? I want to hear all about and how you juggle your life. You're a CEO, you've written books, and you've got records in running. Like, this is crazy.
So the running part, biomechanically, some people are better set for it. Some people are made for short distances. Some people for long distances. Like, you're probably more of a power runner. Like, you can probably outsprint me, but I'm kind of built to, run long distances. So you kind of find your distance as you go. But you're right. Like, you got to find your sport. And sometimes somebody can be good on the bike. Somebody can be good on the erg and not running a marathon.
And okay, well, was this something that like the first time you found that you could do this thing from running, which is a step up from walking, I suppose, like as a little kid, and you were just like, oh, I can do this forever?
No, it's interesting. I ran a little bit when I was 5 and 6 with my father, and that was probably important to me. I wasn't that good. Like I played basketball, I played tennis, I played soccer, I played baseball as a kid. I go to high school. I go to this intense high school. I think I'm going to be like a basketball star because I've been captain of my team in the 9th grade. And I go try out for the varsity. I get cut. And I try out for the JV and I get cut. And I tried for the JV2 and I get cut, right? Like, not easy to get cut from the JV2. And so the only sport you could join is track. So I go down to the track and the guy looks at me, and obviously I'm not going to throw the shot put, right? And so says, run the 2 mile. And I start running and I'm not very good. And, my first few races, I was back at the pack. And then this crazy thing happened. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. I was running about 11:40 for 2 miles, right? So 5 minutes, 50 seconds for 2 miles. And I kind of thought if everything went perfectly, I could run 11:30, right? And so I go into the final race of the year. And it's on a track that's like a slightly different size. I think it was 160 meters, not 150 meters, but I don't know that. And so then I start running and I go through, maybe it's like 22 seconds a lap. And I'm like, okay, I'm on target. I'm running what I should be doing. What I don't realize is that I'm going way faster than I've ever gone before, right? And I go through the mile on like 5:24, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, also, why am I in 3rd place, not like 15th place? And then I finish in 10:48, which, like, that's a good time. It's not amazing, but it's good. It's good for a sophomore. It's good for a kid who just started. And it's like the class record for sophomores. And it was entirely because I didn't know how big the track was. And so, like, I had this incredible mental breakthrough. And from then on, I was a good runner, right? And then I go and I set more school records, and I'm very fast for a period of time. But I had to have that weird psychological breakthrough where I almost had to like trick myself.
I think that our own limiting beliefs get in the way of a lot. I think you could, and I find my body constantly sending me signals to either eat more than I would otherwise want to eat, or to be more static than I've shown myself is not only possible but beneficial. And I mean beneficial in, like, if I go to the gym, I have a better day. But most days I do not want to go to the gym. and I have to remind myself, remember the last time you didn't go to the gym, the day sucked because of it. You were kind of in a
Yeah.
foggy, bad mood all day. And I have to go through that kind of cognitively or analytically. I can't, it's not something the reactive part of me wants to just sit and watch TV and eat. Is this and so like I want to know for you, is that for running today, like these long distances? Are you just excited to do it, or do you have to convince yourself?
I know it kind of annoys people. I never have to convince
You
myself. I just
never,
like
you
it.
love it. Yeah.
I just like it's and it kind of annoys people. Like, what do you do when, how do you get yourself out the door when it's cold and rainy? I'm like, I don't know. I really want to get out the door, so I put on a raincoat.
Right.
There's a story I tell in the book where I was like at my now wife's house. She's then my girlfriend, and I show up and I'm there and I have dinner with my in-laws. It might be the first time I have dinner with my in-laws and we talk, and it's like 10:15, and I'm like, I'm going for a run. And they're like, they say to my girlfriend, they're like, what is wrong with this guy? Did we do something wrong? Like, and she's like, no, he just likes it.
It's just what you do.
So it's like, it's autopilot, right? Like it's like my default. I like doing it. Like I drop my kids at school and I run to the office. I finish work, I run home, right? And like, I just like it. It clears my head. I mean, like better day if you go to the gym. Gym is a little different because you have to walk over there. It's cold. You have to like warm up. Like running, you just get out the door and it's good, right? Like I can see why
Yes,
it's harder to get to the gym.
of all the things, of all the sports, of all the exercise schemes, it's for sure the easiest. Like,
Yeah.
if you have working legs, you can run or do some
Yeah.
version of that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't have working legs, like those wheelchair guys in the marathon, those guys are incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. Those are like the heroes of the marathon. But yeah, it's like you just open your door and go. You need shoes, but you can wear pretty much any kind of shoe. And if you have grass, you can do it barefoot.
And there are even going to be some small sections of social media screaming you're better off without shoes, you know?
Yeah. Those guys are wrong, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny, the cover of my book shows me running without shoes. But I run like 1 mile a week without shoes and like 70 with shoes.
Yeah. 70 miles. So that's 80 miles a week you're running.
No, 71 miles a week. I'm just
71.
like, if I run 80, that's a great week. But like my body gets tired at 80.
And this is calculated from running to work, running home. All of that is clocked
And then
in
like
there.
throw in a 20 mile on the weekends. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I find with stuff like going to the gym, with sticking to my nutrition plan, that every day is a battle, but the battle becomes much easier if I make it through a day, if I make it through two, if I build up some momentum, then that
Yep.
battle becomes easier. The voice screaming, don't go to the gym, is defeated much more easily. Is there some version of that with you in running? I know it's not hard. I know you love doing it, but what about doing the hard things? Because I got to imagine, as a guy who has a lot going on, you're a CEO, you've written multiple books, you have a wife. I don't know if you have kids, but I don't know what your personal life is like. But running a 20 miles on the weekend or every day has got to be hard to fit in sometimes, no?
Well, yeah. I mean, so not really. I'll run a 20 mile. I'll just get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday and I'll go run 20 miles. Right. And what's annoying and what annoys my wife and my children, I have three boys, is like I go to bed at like 10 o'clock. Maybe I don't watch the full movie or something. And that's kind of annoying. Right. But it's not that bad. And then I squeeze it in. Like, I take them to the soccer field. There's 45 minutes before the game starts. Right. So I go and I run for 45 minutes. Right. There are things, though, that I have a hard time with. Right. Like, I don't eat perfectly. Right. Like sometimes I'm like tempted by, I eat pretty well, but like sometimes, you're tempted by something. I don't cross train. Like I really should do a lot more cross training. Like I don't do that. I don't really enjoy it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff I could do that I don't do. But the running part, that's easy.
Right. And what about those things when you say you don't eat right? Because a lot of the people I talk to were talking about weight loss and kind of the conversations around that and the difficulties with that. You clearly don't have a problem with your weight, but when you're talking about how you eat, is it trying to keep your weight up? Like, does the running affect that, or what do you mean? Just for general
No, no,
health?
just like I don't like last night. I don't know. Like I have like a perfect diet in mind during the day, right? And like, for breakfast, I'm very consistent at breakfast. I have like oats mixed with chia seeds and flaxseed and a whole bunch of nuts, and then I put fruit on top of it, and then I have a glass of like green juice and a glass of beet juice and some creatine and usually some L-citrulline, right? Like, and I'm very consistent about that, right? Lunch, I'm very consistent. But dinner, like sometimes, I don't know, you have a little, like, I don't know, you have a little something that you shouldn't have. And I've never worried. My weight's fine. Sometimes before a marathon, you're trying to get it down. Like, what's so weird about running, like, you, it's basically like your power multiplied by your efficiency divided by your mass. And we all work on the power, right? Like how strong we can be, what our cardiovascular is. We don't really work on the efficiency, how well we move through space. And then we try not to talk about mass because it's like gets pretty dark because like look at those runners who win the marathon. They're like bean poles, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm like there's a runner, one of my contemporaries, 6 feet tall, 160 pounds. You know what his nickname was? Fatso, right? So, you know, it's tough. It's a weird
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah, cycling is the same. When I was really, really into cycling, I got my weight down to 200 pounds, and I was by far the heaviest guy riding a
Yeah.
bicycle
Well, it's good
anywhere.
on the downhills, right? Like the weight in the downhills is good.
Great on the downhills, but going flat or uphill, I'm at a
Yeah.
disadvantage. And I'm just doing what my body can do, and getting to 200 pounds was really tough for me.
We all have different bodies. We all have different metabolisms. We all have different ways of functioning. And that leads us to different sports. Cycling, I think, is it's interesting. So I do road racing, and in the road racing, it's all bean poles, right? Or as the coach of the Colorado Buffaloes once said, you should look like a skeleton with a condom on, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what the people who win the road racing. When I want to run the mountain races, those people look more normal, right? Because like you're pulling yourself up the rocks. You're like trying to balance yourself as you go down. And actually, like there, the trade-off between muscle and mass sometimes favors muscle. And so, I remember my wife at the end of one of the mountain races, she's like, people who beat you in this one look a lot more normal than the people who beat you in the regular marathons.
Right. Yeah, the only thing I was actually competitive at was crits and the track. And
Yeah.
and that wasn't what I liked. I liked road racing, but I was
Yeah.
I was so not built for it. But it was fun, so that's what I did.
That's what you gotta, you've got to go do what you love.
Yeah, that's right. How important is it for people to, like, is this part of the message of your book, finding something that you love that gets you out in the world and moving?
I do think that, I mean, the book is really, the idea of the book is it's not so much about running as it is about hard things in life. And it's like taking my knowledge, my obsessive knowledge of running, and I've spent all this time running, all this time thinking about running, and using that as a way to understand pain, loss, addiction, decline, aging, death, right? And so it's profiles of the story of my life, the story of my crazy father's life, and then stories of these other runners who take the sport in ways that help you understand really complicated things. That said, the answer to your question is kind of yes. Like, I do believe that getting out and running, or getting out and walking or biking, right? I just use running because that's the thing I know, is a way to clear your mind. And it's a way to like purify your soul. And it's a way to feel closer to the universe and feel, in some ways. In fact, let me tell you. So the title of the book, right? This kind of gets at it. So the title of the book is The Running Ground, right? And it comes from, you can't really see, but it comes from this quote from Maximus of Tyre, a Roman philosopher. And I'll read you the beginning because it gets at your question here.
Okay.
And it was this print that my father gave me. God himself, the father and fashioner of all that is older than the sun or sky, greater than time and eternity and all the flow of being, is unnameable by any lawgiver, unutterable by any voice, not to be seen by any eye. But we, being unable to apprehend his essence, use the help of sounds and names and pictures, of beaten gold and ivory and silver, of plants and rivers, mountain peaks and torrents, yearning for the knowledge of him, and in our weakness, naming all that is beautiful in this world after his nature. Just as happens to earthly lovers. To them, the most beautiful sight will be the actual lineaments of the beloved, but for remembrance sake, they'll be happy in the sight of a lyre, a little spear, a chair, perhaps, or a running ground, or anything in the world that wakens the memory of the beloved. And like what he's saying in this quote is that they're things that can lift us up spiritually and give us an understanding of God and love and the things that really matter, whether it's music, whether it's design, or whether it's a Greek track or running ground. And so I love that quote. I just love the whole, it goes on and on. And it gets even more beautiful. I love that so much. And so that's why I call the book The Running Ground.
Yeah. Yeah, that is beautiful. It had the beginning touched me off to ideas of Maimonides in
Hmm.
the God for the Perplexed, because this whole thing is unknowable and we're just trying to grasp a piece of it. And I like this
Hmm.
setting of running ground and finding something spiritual there.
Yeah. Like you said it so well. Like we can't know, we can't understand, we grasp a piece. It's the best we can do. And, a track, a road, a mountaintop that you run to can be part of that.
Yeah. Let's talk about doing hard things, because I found, my wife saw a video on the internet and thought, getting in ice water every day would help us lose fat. And so we got an ice bath and started doing this thing. And it didn't not help us lose fat at all. But I found that it was something I didn't want to do
Hmm.
ever. I never enjoyed it. It was painful from the moment I got in. And then the minute I got out, I felt a sense of accomplishment for having done it. And I think that the biggest benefit, unless you have like severely sore muscles or something strained, is just this thing of doing something hard. How important
Yeah.
is that? And will you talk about a little bit of how you go into that in your book?
Yeah. I do think it's really important to do hard things. I think that, you know, I do think that like if you stress yourself and you do something hard, it makes it easier to do the next hard thing. Like you get in the ice bath, right? Or you get out and run, you go to the gym, like we were saying, it makes the next thing easier, right? Like everything you do right makes it a little bit easier to do right. And it also teaches you like the skill it takes to kind of withstand the ice bath is, kind of the same skill you need to stay cool when someone's like mad at you at the grocery store and you just need to get out of that situation. Or someone's mad at you at the bar and you just need to like get out, walk away, right? Like the way of like staying calm in the ice bath helps you stay calm in the bar, right? If that's the right approach, right? Or that's the right situation, way to get out of that situation. And so, I do feel like when you do a hard thing or you try something that you don't know you're going to succeed, you activate stuff inside of you that then like widens the aperture of your whole life. Um, and that doesn't mean that you should just like go out and be like, I'm going to do like 1,000 push-ups today, right? Like sometimes doing the hard thing is you're going to write a letter to your aunt, right? And like you're going to like you're just something that it doesn't have to be physically hard, but just that it's something that you have to get over a hurdle to do it.
Yeah, I love the analogy of the guy in the bar. And it speaks to me because my literal version of this was like when I lived in Los Angeles, I would experience not road rage where I ever did anything I could have gotten in trouble for, but my emotions took over. I drove a little erratically and I had to let the person know that like what they did was not okay, or that I was mad, or just to flip them the bird or something. And almost every time I wished I hadn't done it. And so
Yeah.
for me, the hard thing in that situation is like, I'm not going to react. Often I find that my impulses, my reactions to things will lead me down a path that I don't want to go down. And the hard thing is to not go down that path, withhold myself from doing that thing, whether it's eating the garbage at night. Fast food advertising is ubiquitous. You cannot go 5 feet in America, in civilized America, without seeing, a Big Mac on a sign or something of the like. You can't get gas without being offered, 2,000 calories for $5 when you pay. The hard thing for me, the reaction, the thing that I'm compelled to do is to consume it, to flip the person off in the car. The hard thing there
Yeah.
is to check myself, not do it. And then, I do have more power. I think what you're saying is so right. You do, I think your aperture grows, but you also become more powerful in the direction you want to be going in.
Totally. Every time you go and you fill up your car with gas and you don't buy the big gulp, makes it easier to not buy it the next time. Every time you go in the other direction, it makes it easier to buy it. Like you kind of create a little habit. Every action creates a little habit.
And do you think that this, like you said, don't do 50,000 push-ups in a day. Do you think this is something that needs to be worked on in a gradient manner, or like, right, like if you bite off more than you can chew, like let's say I wanted to start running. I don't, but let's say I did. If I went and tried to run a marathon tomorrow, it would be the beginning and end of my running career. I would have to get very scientific for myself and go like, well, how much can I run today? And probably then I would have to push it a little bit beyond that. Like the
Yeah.
hard thing would be pushing it beyond that. But what do you think about kind of taking that methodical approach to the hard things?
I like that. So there's a character I read about in the book, Superba Beckjord, and I read about five different people. It's my life, my dad's life, these five people. And they're all people who my life intersected. She ran a store right down the street from where I lived in Washington. And when she was young, she read about this guy, Sri Chinmoy, an Indian guru, who said that running is a way to be at one with the universe. And she's like, okay, that's interesting. And so she didn't know to run. She didn't know how to run. So she would go and she would run two lampposts, right? So out her door to two lampposts and then back, and then three lampposts and back, and then four lampposts, right? And gradually built up, gradually built up. And then, she becomes a runner. She joins like the running team and with Sri Chinmoy. And then he's like, you guys are going to run a marathon. And so then it's actually kind of the opposite, where she's like, she has been running, but now she's forced to run a distance that she's not familiar with. But she goes and does it. Eventually, kid you not, 9 years in a row, she wins the 3,100-mile race around the same block in Queens. So they start in August, 6 o'clock in the morning. They run until midnight every day. You got to run 60 miles a day around the block. It's 0.5 miles around the block, 120 laps around the block. It's just a regular block. There's nothing special. It's on the Grand Central Parkway. And so she wins it 9 years in a row, 3,100 miles. It's the craziest race. It's incredible. You go and you watch, you don't know who's running and who's just like, or who's racing and who's just like going for a jog in Queens.
I want to go watch this race. Tell me again what it's called.
It's called the Sri Chinmoy 3,100 miler.
That's incredible.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. And it was 2 years ago, my favorite thing happened. There's like, it's like, you have to finish. The deal is, because they can't run the race all year, right? So they like, I don't know whether the permit ends, but you start in August and it ends like October 10th, October 15th. And there's a woman who it's not clear she's going to finish. And she's like, just like pushing. And she finishes on the last day at like 11:15 p.m. I remember watching through the webcam, just like, let's go, Harita. It's such an amazing feat. Yeah. And there are guys who go out there and crush it and run 80 miles a day, get it done. I guess they average 77 or so. They get it done like 41 days is maybe the record.
Wow.
But it's not soft terrain. It's not even terrain. You're going around, there's like fire hydrants and there's cars and you go around people.
There's the people of New York just living their lives.
Yeah. Like people are playing like handball and there are people in their strollers and they're, people yelling. It's bonkers. And you're like, you have to run in the rainstorm. You're running till midnight. Like sometimes it's really cold in New York in October.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really hot in August. So
right. Yeah, that would be
it's amazing.
The race starts like towards the end of summer and begins, and our fall can come early one year.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then, and like you go through all these different shoes, you eat so much. Like one day last year, everybody got sick, right? They all gave each other the flu. So they're all throwing up on the course as they run around it. It's nuts.
So she went from just being inspired by a philosopher to winning this epic, monstrous race that sounds like completely insane to me, but fascinating.
Yeah.
And how long?
10 years.
Wow.
5 years, 10 years. Yeah. And she's this like little wisp. She's like 5'1", like 95 pounds. I was doing a reading at Politics and Prose in Washington last week, and she was there. And maybe there are 200 people there. And I'm like, all right, everybody. The greatest ultra runner in the world is in this audience. Please look around and see if you can guess who it is. And then I was like, all right, Superbus, stand up. And people are like, what?
That's insane, dude. That's
it was
amazing.
Great. It was great.
Yeah, the hard things are super important for those reasons. I think quite often for me, before I kind of got my footing in my life, like if I think back to the first hard thing I did, I was 550 pounds and it was just, instead of walking to my car, I'm going to walk and do a lap of my car. And the hardest part of it, I remember sitting down in my car and realizing like that wasn't so hard that I can't do more tomorrow, like 2 laps or
Yeah.
the end of my driveway or the corner of my block. But it was like standing at the door of my car going, wait, am I really going to do this? I don't feel like it. And
Yeah.
that little push, um, I think starting small and building up is there's nothing wrong with it. But when you're looking up the mountain and imagining that the mountain is the hard thing, then every step you can't think about just, well, all it takes is doing one hard step today.
So this is part of the key of the book. So in 2005, I'd spent a decade trying to break a 3 hour marathon. I do. And then I run a 2:43 marathon. And then the week afterwards, I get diagnosed with thyroid cancer. You can see, if anybody's watching video, you can see right here.
Yeah.
And, I go through hell, right? Or not, I'm not going to die, but I think I'm going to die. And, multiple surgeries, radiation. And I get through it, but I can't walk at the end. Like I can't walk around the block. Like I'm so wiped out physically, right? And this is 5 months since I was an elite or sub-elite marathoner. But I have in my mind, I'm going to get back, right? And so it's this like gradual process, like knowing that, okay, I'm going to try and like, whether it's a year and a half, whether it's 2 years, I'm going to try to run it again. And so I built myself back up slowly. And, your body has a memory of it. But it took a long time. And then 2 years later, I ran the New York Marathon again. So started the same line. And when in 2005, before I got sick, I ran it in 2 hours, 43 minutes and 51 seconds. In 2007, I ran in 2 hours, 43 minutes and 38 seconds.
Wow, you beat your time.
Yeah, 13 seconds. I remember like sprinting at the end, just being like, I can't believe I just did this.
With thyroid cancer, do they remove your thyroid?
Yeah. So what happened with me, unfortunately, is they took out half and they were like, all right, you go in and you're like, they open you up and they're like trying to figure out if you actually have cancer in your thyroid or whether it's something more benign. And they took out half and they're like, it looks okay. And they call me up and they're like, actually, we tested it. You don't have cancer. You're good. I was like, yes, because you can survive on half a thyroid. It creates enough thyroid hormone. And then they call me like a week later, like, sorry, we read the slide wrong. You actually do have cancer and we got to go take in the second half. I was like, oh my God. Right. It happens in life. And so they took the second half out and then that was that.
And do you have to supplement with thyroid?
Yeah, rest of my life. God willing, there's never an apocalypse and we run out of Synthroid, but I take levothyroxine every morning. Yeah.
Yeah. And that handles it.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. 2 years later, you ran the marathon again and beat your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you still that fast?
I got faster. I got faster in my 40s. Yeah. I stayed that fast for 10 years. And then in my 40s, I got way faster. And
okay. Well, how'd you do that? Like in your book, you talk about like recognizing pain in your knee in the 15th mile as a signal that you just have to get through. How in your 40s do you get faster?
Well, so I think part of what happened is that in my 30s, I had a psychological block. I didn't think I could be faster than I'd been before I got sick. So I didn't let myself get faster. Right. Remember when I started and I told you about that race in high school?
Yeah.
A lot of what slows you down in running is your own perceptions of how fast you can go. There are physiological things that slow you down, right? No one, the Buddha can't run an hour and 30-minute marathon. Like they're physiological things, but they're mental things. And I think I was in my 30s, I was held back by a fear that I could never be faster than I'd been before I got sick. In my 40s, I kind of cracked through that and I started training harder. I trained more miles. I trained like more intensely in my workouts. I ate a little better, hydrated a little better, slept a little better, had better technology, and then believed in myself and just started to believe, not like, I didn't have this, I just believed, I thought I could make the Olympic trials, right? I was just like, I just started getting faster, right? And I run 2:43 and then I run 2:38 and then I run 2:34 and then I run 2:29. And like every race I run, I set a goal and I beat the goal, right? And so I was like, I'm just going to keep getting faster. Next time I'm going to run 2:25 and then I'm going to run 2:21 and then I'm going to run 2:17, right? And COVID hit right after the 2:29. And, so that was the end of that. But I had a magical couple years. Yeah. And then I guess it was the year after COVID that I set the American record in the 50K, which was probably my best race ever.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's wild. What else should people know about running? I'm such not a runner, but I love people who love what they do and I want to advocate for it.
So let me tell you, so if somebody's listening and they're not a runner, but they want to run or they want to go walk, but they don't walk, right? What I recommend is this. I recommend you go out and maybe you run 2 lampposts, right? Or you run around the block or you run a mile. But when you do it, you just think about what you see, right? Or you just think about what you hear, or you just think about what you smell, or you just think about your body, right? Think about as you run, think about just how much time you're in the air, right? Because weirdly, you're in the air half the time. It's pretty strange, right? And like, or think about just like, you know what? Try to run like so that your right foot lands precisely on like the line in the road, right? On the side of the road. Like try to develop some kind of mental habit or some kind of meditative practice. And you suddenly realize like running can open things up for you, right? And if you do this thing where you just listen, you like just listen to the birds. Go out in the morning when the birds are active.
So no
And
headphones, no book on tape, no podcast, no music.
no. If you put on music, you kill. I mean, don't for what I'm saying. Like if you're into running and you need to listen to music, right?
But
But
for the novice,
for the novice, go out and like what you want in running is not, oh man, running sucks. But if I listen to Taylor Swift, I can run 3 miles. Like it's better than nothing. What you want is to get to the place where running, you want to run. And to get there, you need to be getting something out of it mentally. You're not going to be getting there if you're listening to the Taylor Swift, right? So go out and like listen to the birds. And I think then you can develop this kind of deeper passion for it.
and you think that goes for walkers too.
Do it too walking. Yeah, and walking is just as good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a magical place for sedentary people to start. I think taking a walk, looking around, being outside,
Yep.
and I understand that some big portion of the country lives above the Mason-Dixon line, and we're getting into winter, and that will be cut off for people. But it's only
Put on a
mid-November.
coat.
Yeah,
Put on a coat. Put on a hat. It's okay.
yeah,
It's you can still do it. My view on running is like you can run in any weather, right? If it's 20 below, you got to put some Vaseline on your nose and you got to wear 3 layers. And if it's 100 degrees, right? You gotta maybe put some ice in your hat, right? But you figure out how to do it
right. And you just get out there and do it, and you do the hard thing, and it becomes
every day.
easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
you take no days off.
I take days off when I have to. Like tomorrow, I'm flying to Austin, and I leave my house at like 5 in the morning, and I get back at midnight, and I'm like going to be on stage. So there's no way I'm going to be able to run in Austin tomorrow. So
Right. No running around the airport conveyor belt while you wait for your luggage or something like that.
I did last week. I had a board meeting, and I like hadn't gone running that day, and the board meeting like ran long and ended at like 5:30, and my flight was at 7. I was like, screw it. And I like took off my suit, put it in my backpack, put on my shorts, and ran to the airport. And then I
You
just like went
ran to
straight.
the airport. Oh my God.
I ran to Terminal 2 and I like went in, checked in, and got like put my like sweatshirt on, like did a little bird bath so I wouldn't offend the other passengers, got on my flight.
That's amazing.
And tomorrow when I go to Austin, I will bring my running shoes because who knows, maybe there'll be a little break.
Right. Or there'll be terrible traffic and you'll do the calculation and you'll find that you beat them on foot.
Yeah, I'll tell the Uber driver, just let me off like a couple miles before Bergstrom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Nick,
Yeah,
this
it's
has
good.
been a fantastic conversation.
So much fun to talk with you. Your story is incredible. Your story of what you've been through, what you've done, how you've learned about your body is amazing. So it's so cool to talk with you.
Yeah, and you too. And I gotta say, like every component from, growing up the way you did to beating cancer and coming back stronger. And just the idea, like taking those signals, like you talked about, pain is just information.
Yeah.
And I mean, getting stronger in your 40s, it's all amazing.
Thanks,
I'm
man. Yeah.
glad you're around doing this and inspiring people.
I'm doing my best. Yeah. Thank you so much. I hope people enjoy the book. I love talking to you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.